What's up, people? We're getting ready to get going here. We're a couple minutes early. Um, just making sure my settings are good. If you want to say hey in the chat, feel free to do so. Also, if you can, let me know on the audio if it sounds good. We're about 2 minutes before we get going. No, 1 minute. Woohoo! And I'll give an official welcome, what we're doing, what's going on. YouTube Live. Get my camera a little more even there. All right. Countdown is here, about 30 seconds. How about that product placement? Come hang out with me at the Site Shift office, Columbus, Ohio. I'll get you one of these mugs. Just gave one out in a meeting this morning. All right. About 24 years ago, I had flown in, went to a baseball game with the leadership team I was joining. This was my first official event with them. We had some fun. We went into the conference room, and the leader did something that was really strange and weird and awkward. Went into complete silence for like 40 minutes. That's the basic gist of what happened. 40 minutes of silence. And as that occurred, I'm looking around. I'm feeling uncertain, right? It's one thing to feel uncertain in the mission. It's one thing to feel uncertain about the things you're pursuing. It's another thing to be in a leadership setting and socially feeling awkward and uncertain. It makes me think, if you've seen the show Succession, one of the craziest, most zany, weird moments in the show is where the CEO, Roy Logan, is calling out different behaviors because he thinks somebody is betraying him. And at one point, he gets grown adults begging on the floor for sausage. It was weird, gross, ick factor. So this wasn't that extreme, but it was still the craziest, weirdest experience. I mean, I think in 24 years, I can't think of a moment where everything felt so intense and awkward. So I get up and I walk over to where the leader is, and I start talking and just kind of framing where we are and the experience that's being had. And you could feel everybody exhale as the moment broke. Now, I'm going to come back to that story. But first, I want to tell you about something that Amazon is doing that's about to show the entire world exactly what this moment is about. Now, before I get into that Amazon show, I want to welcome you to our first of hopefully many weekly YouTube Live, Lunch with Chris. Maybe you've got some lunch. Maybe you've got some coffee. I've got my coffee here that I have at the office a lot. Maybe some days I'll have my favorite local coffee. Friend of the show, Sergeant Coffee. Love to meet you there for a coffee if you're local. Breakfast on the West Coast. That's it. Yes, it's Lunch with Chris on the East Coast. It's breakfast for Mountain and Pacific times. And that's why we want to do this later in the day. What you can expect when you show up at this is we're going to have a theme. I'm going to teach to that theme. I want to give you a ton of value. I want to break your brain and build your heart. It'll be short. It'll be tight. And then from there, we'll go into Q&A. And when we go into the Q&A, it might be that it's tied to the theme or the teaching of the day. and it also might be wide open. I want you to feel like you could come and have lunch with me or breakfast in this space. And I'm going to swing for the fences. I'm going to give you the most value I can, short, tight teaching, and also whatever you're currently wrestling with in your leadership, how to get better, how to grow. And so we're going to serve you in that way. And you can bring your favorite drink or lunch or breakfast or whatever you got. So I actually also do have my lunch. I'll eat it during the Q&A. Today is a lot of meetings. So these are 2 protein bites from a local favorite place that does juices and smoothies. And I'm not going to tell you where it is because I don't want these to sell out because I need them. They're my fuel. And that's today's lunch. So I'm in this conference room. I feel awkward. Everyone else feels awkward. I get up and I take care of business. I bring what the moment needs. You could feel everybody exhale. And what's wild to me is we've all felt these moments in different ways. And Amazon's about to do something to blow the roof off on these moments. What am I talking about? Well, Friday, a show is dropping. It's season 2 of a show called Jury Duty. And this one is Jury Duty just because they got a brand reach from that with the first show, but it's Company Retreat. So here's the idea. The first season of Jury Duty, there was one actor, or excuse me, there was one person who wasn't acting. Everybody else was acting, and he didn't know it. He thought he was on a real jury, but he wasn't. And they told him at the end. It was an incredible show. Grew and had a lot of reach. So they're doing season 2. They're keeping the idea of Jury Duty, and the idea is just there's one person who's not acting. Everybody else is acting. And what this season's theme is called Company Retreat. And so if you watch the teaser they put out for this, the trailer, the preview, it is all around the goofy, the funky, the awkward, the scary, the ick factor of all these moments that happen in weird company retreats. So I can't wait. I can't wait. I mean, I love Succession because it was such an intense drama on leaders leading insecure. This is going to be high comedic value, high entertaining value around company retreats. So what I'm planning for this first batch of YouTube lives is as they drop episodes, they're dropping them, I think like three, and then 2, the finale or something like that. What I'm going to do for the first few YouTube lives here is come back. We're going to talk about the elements of the show, the moments that have us go, ooh, and I'm going to break those down for you because you're then going to learn why these moments go off the rails, what's so awkward, what's so weird, and what we can do about it, how we can bring a better leadership to that moment. So Jury Duty, if you want to check it out, Amazon Prime, Company Retreat. And you know that feeling, some of you have had it, where it's Sunday night, the dread starts to kick in before a Monday team offsite. That feeling has a name. This show is about to highlight tons of those moments. That moment has a name. That moment had a name for me 24 years ago when I had to break the weird and awkward silence. And here's the name that we're giving to it. Dumb theater. Dumb theater. Now, the YouTube lives, if you know anything about me or how I show up with leaders and our brand, we have a good time. We don't pull the punches, but we also have some laughs. And I will look forward to on our YouTube lives some fun moments, insightful moments, irreverent moments, and everything in between. I don't know if you remember that song, Dumb Ways to Die, that spread around on the internet. And if you know that I sung on the first episode and I can't sing, who knows what we're in for with this Lunch with Chris experience. But that's the way I think about this with companies. Dumb ways to lead, this dumb theater, this performative theater. You know, it's the rituals that make the leader feel good, but actually don't change anything. It's the retreat that never carries into Monday morning. It's the all hands. That's a monologue of completely missing the big idea, not being able to put to words the moment that everybody's feeling, but it's just whatever that leader was having as an experience. and they brought it in, or it's the team building exercise that actually builds nothing. So what's going to happen, I'm guessing, I haven't seen the show yet, they're going to build out these characters in this show. And these characters are going to represent these types of people that show up in these moments and how awkward it is. You know, the hype motivational speaker, the intense, overly aggressive drill sergeant, you know, the goofy wellness guru that doesn't really know anything about how to transform through introspection and do quality mindfulness, but gets stuck in these weird self-care loops. Oh, we're going to make fun of it all. In fact, one of the things you're going to be seeing from Sight Shift is a way we're going to play into these characters. I won't say more about that because I want to surprise you with that as you follow us on social media or subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're going to see all that coming out. But here's the question I have for you. Why do smart leaders keep investing in things like this that are goofy, that are awkward, that give you that ick factor, and frankly, they just don't work? Why do they keep doing it? I want you to think about it in like two ways. And if you can think about it in two ways with me for a moment, how this dumb theater evolves, you're going to see a clear fork in the road for yourself. That if you're ever in a space where dumb theater starts to happen, you're actually going to be able to be the leader and get it on the rails. And you're going to be able to make sense of the moment. And you're going to know why it happens. And then more importantly, you're not going to ever lead with this performative aspect of dumb theater. So here's one way to think about it. Why leaders keep investing in these things that don't work. There are two ways you can try to have a moment with your team. Okay. There are two ways you can have a moment with your team. And by the way, this applies to marriage. This applies to families. If you're trying to lead a family, lead an organization, lead a large organization, doesn't matter. This applies. Number one, you hand them the information. It would almost be like if you're trying to address something in the body and you hand people a diagram of the body and there's a lot of information, let's say around the hamstring. And the moment your, air quotes here, I'm using the metaphor, the moment your body is having is your calf is super tight. It's giving you a lot of pain. It's pulling on your Achilles and your heel is really hurting and you've got an intense dose of plantar fasciitis. I'm just trying to paint this out for you. This has nothing to do with the fact that I'm 48, near 50, and paying attention to some of these issues in my own life. But so imagine you're with the team. The moment you need to have is to get this calf stretched out so that your heel pain goes away, so that you feel relaxed and relieved in this pain. Somebody in the first way, they hand you a diagram and they show you the infrastructure of the muscles and all that's going on. And they, in a sense, map the territory of the leg. And they got a real thick binder for you. All these notes you fill in, all this science. And what do you do with that binder? Could be good information, but poorly applied. You take that binder and you go back to your office and you put it on your desk or your shelf, and you never touch it again. I mean, the number of things that I've heard of that organizations do where they spend 6 to 7 figures, depending on the size of the company. Everybody gets a binder, everybody gets the notes, and they just put it on their shelf. Or they get these goofy things on their desk and they're like, I'm a blue. You got to talk to me like I'm a blue, because leadership is about you conditioning yourself to me, which is stupid. And there's so much in that, and we'll unpack that a ton. That's way one. Way two is you actually help them feel the tight muscle. You put people in the moment that they're having in their body, and they help you understand. And they maybe have like a little calf stretch tool that you can put your foot on, and you start to stretch your calf out, and you feel that tightness for the first time, and you feel it go away, and your heel starts to get relieved. And once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. That's when things shift. Now, of course, I'm not talking about tight calves. You get that, right? I'm talking about all of those weird, awkward moments that happen in leadership spaces. This is why we're doing lunch with Chris, because I can't stand it. I love to make fun of it, and it's hilarious to me, but it's also extremely sad when I see all the binders on shelves of all the times they've given the diagram, but never taken people into the moment to help them see something that they can learn to start shifting and transforming. See, here's the idea. Most retreats, most team building, most leadership development is way one. It's diagrams, it's binders. And here's the thing. The leader of that experience feels productive. The team feels busy, but nothing actually moves. It's a lot like when I ask CEOs how the meeting go, and they go, man, it went great. I went through all my points. Well, who freaking cares? What was actually heard? Did the team have the moment they need to have? And so what happens is the leader might feel productive because they're doing the best they can and they brought in this service provider. But the reason smart leaders keep investing in things that don't work is because that's what they've been trained to do. They think I'm doing a good thing because I invest in this and I buy this for my team. But because it's way one, and because it's not how we actually shift and change, it ends up actually creating resistance within them. So the next time you try to take them through a transformative experience, and it might be substantive, they're actually starting to inoculate against it and think, oh, here we go again. Here we go again on this cheesy path of dumb theater that's performative. When I went into the conference room 24 years ago, the leader that was leading at that time, they were creating theater. The shift that actually works is at the identity level, not the information level. See, leaders are operating from one of two places all the time. They're either leading for impact or they're leading for validation. And when a leader is trying to lead for validation, and especially when that leadership shows up in a proving energy, they're trying to prove that they're spiritual enough or smart enough or in enough control. They use the room to get what they need, the performative theater of it. That's why in our measurement, one of the leaders' insecurities we know of that's very vast in senior executive leadership is the inability to sit in the pain of the moment. They want to rush to the exciting future. So when they bring in a motivational speaker that just hypes the future, that doesn't actually walk them into the moment of pain where they need to coalesce around that and transform through it, when they bring in a motivational speaker that's hype, that's cheese, that's performative, that's dumb theater, they think they're doing the right thing because that's in their insecurity, how they're wired up. Here's the idea, though. When a leader leads for impact, not validation, they use the room to give the team what it needs. That's why every retreat, every meeting, every all hands, you can ask one question. Is this for the leader? Is this for the service provider? Or is this actually for the team? Two different intentions, two different outcomes, two different motivations. This is why we built an assessment around this. It's called the IFQ, the Identity Fear Quotient. It takes about 15 minutes, and it shows you exactly where you're leading for your own validation. It's not that you're doing this all the time, but it's the mistake you make when you're under pressure. And that mistake you make when you're under pressure leads to dumb theater. So back to that conference room 24 years ago. Here's what I know now. That leader wasn't a bad person. They were doing what they thought leaders do. They were creating a moment. They were setting the tone. And what I had to do in that moment was shift it because they weren't leading for impact. They were leading for validation. They needed the room to confirm something for them, and the room felt it. Everybody felt it. And here's the part that stuck with me the most. Even though I wasn't the leader, and even though I was new to the team, I had to stand up and I had to end a moment that wasn't mine to end because nobody else was going to. You should never be in that position of awkwardness. If you're leading a team, it's your job to make sure no one on your team has to rescue the room from you. It's happening all the time, though. That's the difference between theater and leadership. Theater needs an audience. Leadership needs nothing from the room. So this Friday, as the company retreat show drops on Prime, watch it. Look for the moments you might see yourself in it. Look for the moments in it that you may hate the most, because that can oftentimes show you something about yourself. And next week, what we'll do is we're going to break that down in these first few episodes and what's actually happening underneath all the comedy. Here's what I can tell you. Insecurity wants to ruin your world. Insecure leaders ruin their world. Insecurity wants to ruin your afternoon. So don't let it. Wherever you find yourself today, lead from a secure identity. And you could be the kind of leader who leads for impact and changes lives. All right, YouTube Live Lunch with Chris. I hope you think on these things, apply these things, and this will give you a little feel for how we kick off these times together. I want to give you something at a high level with some quality that you can walk away with and apply in your world. What we're going to do now is switch to some chat, Q&A, interact. I'd love to hear in the chat what stood out to you the most. What was something that you really resonated with, that you were like, light bulbs are going off? Maybe if you've got the confidence, throw a weird moment of dumb theater you've seen in the chat. We will not laugh at you. We will laugh with you. And if you're really secure as a leader, you could even maybe share one you did, and you can be that kind of person who learns from it. Hey, as a note here, and we get into the chat and answering questions, I'll read out who is mentioning or asking the question or making the comment. I won't give the name, as we just kind of, keep that between me, you, and the people on the chat, not necessarily have it broadcast out in the audio. I want you to know, though, I'm not ideologically sensitive or allergic. There's no protest, pushback, challenge you could bring in the chat that I'm going to be offended by. I welcome it. I like it. It's part of how your brain is starting to wrestle things out and make sense of new information. So let me know what stood out to you. Throw into the chat something that you're taking away today, something encouraging to you. It is Lunch with Chris, so I'm going to start eating my protein bite as I interact with you. I'll try to not be too rude. And then also what questions you have for application or moments of dumb theater you have seen. And I would really love to hear that too, because when we hear it in your words, we all learn from it. And we all get better as we go. All right. So I'm going to jump over to chat, start throwing it in there. And unfortunately, this is a sign of the times. I'll put these on some. Building on the tight calf metaphor, I pulled my hamstring. They didn't touch my hamstring. They fixed root issue, stretched tight hip flexors, and strengthened weakened glute. Yeah, that's awesome. So one of the comments about how the issue was really fixed, and it wasn't the pulled hamstring, it was the hip flexor and the weak glute that caused the issue. And what's so powerful about this comment and the way that I use the metaphor of the tightened calf, it's because what mostly is happening in leadership development that doesn't have this kind of awareness is they're treating the symptom, not the cause. And so if somebody is like, oh my gosh, we're not all on the same page, okay, well, that actually is a symptom. So what a lot of leaders will try to do is go, I have to fix the symptom. I just got to talk more. More words will get us there. Nope. More intensity will get us there. Nope. If you said to me, Chris, we're having a real problem on our team with, we're just not being creative. I need people to be more creative. Well, that's a symptom, because the root is they're not feeling, they're feeling exposed. They're not feeling safe enough to risk new ideas, to try new things that may go wrong, that may fail. And they're not having a vision put in front of them that's going to draw out, if they grow into this new creativity, this is who they're going to become as a leader. So powerful when you think about, it's getting to the root level. That's what produces the transformation. That's where you want to be every time. Every time. I want to take a quick bite of my protein. All right, what else you got? Thoughts, questions? What's standing out? Peanut butter, protein powder. I'm a weirdo. I could eat the same things every day for breakfast and lunch. I like my routines. Going once, going twice for today. All right, my friends. Oh, we got a couple jumping in here now. This meeting could have been an email. I'm thinking when I taught school, when you walk away not understanding how it relates to your own area. Right on. I mean, that's what happens all the time, right? You've got people who have run poor meetings, and truthfully, it should have just been an email. But then you've got people who are not building out the application of that meeting into every area in a thorough way. And so people aren't imagining why they need to be in the meeting so they can ask questions, so they can get the application they need for their department. Then you also have people on the receiving end that aren't in the place that they're proactively trying to synthesize, integrate, and discern where that application is. So you have to have people that lead meetings well to help everyone imagine the application. And then you have to have people on the other side that are wrestling it out. And I'll tell you what's really powerful about this. Oftentimes the people that are wrestling out the application, their wrestling out of the application sounds like protest. It sounds like dissent. It sounds like disagreement. But what about, but what about, but what about? And it isn't necessarily protest, dissent, or disagreement. It's actually how the idea is getting better. It's getting cooked up more for better application. There's a lot of dimensions around that, but yeah. Don't waste my time. And if you ask me to show up, I'm going to give you my best, and we're going to dive in. Leadership doesn't need an audience. Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm glad that connected and resonated, because if I'm honest, there were times I've led teams through moments for my own validation because I wanted them to see something about me. I wanted something about who I am to be witnessed, to be noticed, to be experienced. Or I wanted to feel a sense of contribution, a sense of accomplishment from participating and being a part of whatever I felt like really had to be offered by me in that moment. And, you know, the answer to this isn't to go the other extreme and go, well, then it's all bad. No. Dumb theater needs an audience. Real leadership is giving the team the moment they need. And teams need lots of moments. Just like, think about it like a family. Any of you here now, you grew up in some kind of family atmosphere or an environment, or you may have a family, and you know those moments when we just need a breather. We need a deep laugh. We need a collective win. We need to be reminded of what we're going through and why we're going through it. The price that we're being asked to pay, and what action we're being asked to take, how we're being bonded through this, how we're being developed through this. I mean, these moments that your team or your family need, they're not for you. They're for them. And when you have that perspective, it changes how you show up. So you're not just about dumb theater. And it changes how you shape walking into that moment. So you're not just trying to falsely pacify people who are upset and angry, but you're actually leading them to become a better version of themselves. I mean, that's why we're gonna go nuclear. Oh yeah, nuclear on all the crazy that we see in companies that are dumb theater. Because you can have a lot of people who say, I'm setting up these 10 grievance committees in our organization because I'm doing it for them. Well, I can promise you, if you give in to the demands for cookies and sugar for dinner, you're going to have 10 grievance committees of people that have mindset rot that are going to slowly lead to a place that your organization has 10 angry people leading for their own, 10 angry groups of people leading for their own validation, pulling away from the effectiveness of the mission drift. So what's powerful is you don't have to be all knowing on this stuff. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have it all figured out. You're really just focusing on motive. who's this moment for? Is it for me or them? Because if it's for them, this moment should take us to a place that we better understand what we're doing and why, how that asks us to change, and where in that change it leads to deeper connection. That's a moment that's really needed. That's a moment for your team. That's a moment that's not performative or dumb theater. That's a moment of real application. That's a moment of transformation. And these are constantly being served up to you. If you can learn to pay attention and watch for it, these are the kind of moments, by the way your team is interacting with you, or when they're going loud or when they're going quiet, all clues and signals you're starting to pay attention to. Oh, their hamstring is torn, right? But what's really going on underneath the surface? When the insecurity is driving your mind and your RPMs are humming around that insecurity, you then miss the signal. You only index on the noise, and then you get into the dumb theater. You get into the performative. You start doing what you do so that you feel better, or you feel better about what you think you're doing for them, even though long term it's not helping them grow, but it's hurting them. So right on. All right, one or two more before we peace out and end our first ever Lunch with Chris, our second ever YouTube Live, brought to you by Swift Coffee, my favorite instant coffee at the office. If you want to be a sponsor, Swift Coffee, let us know. It actually is incredible. It sounds like it would be terrible, but it's really good. All right, good people. Thank you for being here. We're going to have some fun. Watch the show. Come back ready to talk about your favorite moments, the funny moments, the awkward moments. I think we're going to have some laughs together, and looking forward to the shared experience. All right, everybody. Peace. Have a great Wednesday.